you speak, you do state your name so that we do know who's speaking. And just a reminder that we make sure that for all motions, they do require a second, and then we must take them to vote, okay? So with that being said, Siley, I'll go ahead and hand it off to you to go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Okay, cool. So I now call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. On November 12th. So can we move to the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please.
Okay, great.
Whenever you're ready, Siley.
Sorry. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mike or Rochelle, can you guys share the agenda for us, please? Thank you.
Okay, so can move on to roll call. So I guess I'll just call out everyone's name. Sonia?
Present.
Fangi?
Here.
Andrea?
Present.
Aruna?
Here.
Tejas?
Here.
Okay. Sorry.
You're gonna also want to call yourself, Siley, and then also we're still gonna even call those that are not here. You're still gonna want to call them, okay?
Okay. So Siley here. Meghna is. I don't know if.
Not present this evening.
Okay. And then sorry. Excuse me if I'm missing someone. Let me just double check.
I think that's everybody.
Okay, great. Okay, so would we be seating any alternates today for Meghna?
So yeah, we're gonna have to seat one alternate this evening. Excuse me.
Okay, sorry, could I just brush up on how to?
Yeah, so we're gonna make a motion to to seat an alternate, and then we'll second and then take it to vote.
Okay, so any alternate can just. Okay, so may I have a motion to seat Andrea for Meghna's seat?
Sonia, motion.
Second.
Aruna, second.
Okay. All in favor?
Thank you.
Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Sonia, aye.
Fangi, aye.
Aruna, aye.
Siley, aye. Okay. So
you're going to want to ask, once you do your eyes, you're going to want to ask if there's any that oppose.
Oh, right. Any opposed?
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to approval of meeting minutes of October 8th. So may I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of October 8th?
So we're going to want to approve the agenda first.
Oh, my apologies. Sorry, I misread. Oh, sorry. May I have a motion to approve the agenda of November 12th?
Aruna, aye. Or motion. Sonia, second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Fangi, aye.
Andrea, aye. Sonia, aye.
Siley, aye. Okay, oh, sorry.
Wait, I have a quick question. So as an alternate, like when you do like the ayes, do I also like say aye, or do I not?
Only when you're seated, Tejas.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to clear that.
Thank you.
Okay, any opposed? All right, so moving on to approval of meeting minutes of October 8th. So may I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of October 8th?
Sonia, I.
So Sonia, you'll have to make that motion if you're going to make the motion. Sorry.
Sorry, my bad. Sonia, motion.
I can second. Siley, second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Thangy, aye.
Aruna, I. Sonia, I.
Siley, aye. Okay, any opposed? All right, so moving on to the public forum.
Yeah,
Do I-
so Rochelle, do we have any comments there?
Anthony, we have one.
Okay.
Mr. Mehta.
Yes, good evening to the Youth Advisory Commission, city staff, as well as all the commissioners. I wanted to say that with regards to the specific to the youth advisory programs, there is a need for the distance learning education, online courses for a youth to be promoted. And as well as there is I wanted to also bring up the program which is called the Congressional Award Program that is to be established for the city of Milpitas. The Congressional Award Program, which comprises of bronze, silver, and gold medal with respect to the different category services in the volunteer services, sports, recreational for the city of Milpitas. By participating in the youth services for the Congressional Award, the city of Milpitas, would be able to participate and represent the community at city, county, and state and national level. So I request Youth Commission to consider the Congressional Award program for the city of Milpitas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Did we have anything else?
That's all
Michelle?
you have? No,
Thank
that's
you. Thank you. So we will go ahead and take that to review. And we can go ahead and move forward, Siley.
Okay, great. So let me look at
Item.
the next. Okay,
Item
thank
A.
you.
Mhm.
Number 8, announcements.
I don't have any announcements today, so we can go ahead and push forward.
Okay, thank you. Number 9, business items. So would you want me to read everything out or? Okay. A, Parks and Recreation Master Plan Update, Gates and Associates. Background, the City Parks and Recreation Master Plan Update, Master Plan, is in the approved City 2019 to 2024 Capital Improvement Program. This project provides an update to the existing 2008 Parks and Recreation Master Plan document to include Transit Area Specific Plan, TASP, parks, Midtown parks, and city recreational facilities. The update will focus on the connectivity within the park, as well as between parks and recreation facilities, including trails. It also includes an assessment of recreation and community services, programs, and fees. Staff hired consultant Gates and Associates to conduct the master plan update. Over the past several months, they have conducted community outreach, assessed fees, parks, and programs. It is anticipated that the update will be concluded in the summer of 2021. However, a status update is available and intended for presentation to the PRCRC and ultimately City Council. Recommendation: receive Parks and Recreation Master Plan update and provide comment.
Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and hand this over to Gates and Associates. They're going to go ahead and provide us with the presentation.
So, Liak, do you want to speak at all, or should I just jump right in?
I think you can just jump right into it.
Okay,
But share or give enough background of the projects.
All right, thank you. So thank you guys for letting me speak to you about this project tonight. My name is Linda Gates. I'm with Gates and Associates. We're a landscape architecture firm, and our mission is to get people outside, because we actually think if people get outside more, they'll be healthier, happier, and et cetera, et cetera. So obviously getting to work with your city on a park and rec master plan is, you know, the epitome of getting people outside. Next slide. So what's a park and recreation master plan? It's like we look at all your existing parks, your facilities, and your programs, so your recreation programs, and we make recommendations about how the city should proceed over the next 10 years. So you do this update every 10 years. You create an overarching vision for that. One of the things that the city's asked us to do that you don't always do in a recreation update is we're actually looking at some of the programs you offer and sort of fee structures, and how you might, like what programs we could charge more for and less for. Like those programs are your classes. They're doing a lot online right now, but I'm sure some of you have, when, you know, pre-COVID, had taken programs and such. How we get there, every park and recreation master plan is tailored to that community, what the community needs, what they want, their population, such. So how we go about doing that is engaging the community to have meaningful input. And actually coming to you tonight is one of those ways. One, you got to know we're doing it and have a place where you can input to us. Next slide. One of the things that's really cool about that we're doing this park and recreation master plan update right now is you've been updating your general plan, and the general plan looks at all the growth that's going to be happening in the city, you know, in terms of housing and industrial and such like that. So it's really nice when planning documents are occurring at the same time, so we can align them and keep the make everything sort of match up. So it's really opportunistic that we're looking at this time. I also happen to think that it's really a good time to be looking at a park and recreation master plan update, because I really think we're looking a little bit differently at how we use our recreation systems. I think everybody sort of appreciated our parks and our trails during COVID. It's one place where we can get outside. Also, I think as even the world returns to new normal, as people work from home more and such, parks may get used differently. They may be used more during the week than they've been used previously. So it's really a good time to kind of rethink how we approach recreation. And you, as youth, sometimes thinking about how it could be. We don't have to do it how it's always been done. How could it be in the future? How can recreation serve? A couple of things that are coming out of the general plan that I think are really key to the park and recreation master plan is we want to make sure it serves the need of all residents. So people who've lived in Milpitas a long time, as well as the new people who may be moving in and living in higher density developments where maybe they don't have the same traditional backyards. They may need to use their parks differently. You want to make sure that your seniors are using it, your families of young children, and we particularly want to make sure teens are having access to parks. We find often teenagers don't use the parks as well as they should. They don't feel they're designed for them. We want to make sure that we're accommodating people with special needs in our park system, and that we sort of embrace the ethnic diversity of your community. The other thing I think that's really unique and important in Milpitas is in order to provide adequate parks and recreation opportunities, we really have to work collaboratively with the school district and the county, because Milpitas is fairly built out. So as we want to create new facilities, certainly if you're playing any active sports and recreation, you know that sometimes you're using school facilities, and that kind of joint use is actually a smart way to be using public funds. Why should we all have separate? We should pool our resources and make something even more amazing together. Next slide. as I mentioned, this is an interesting time because they're doing the general plan, but they're also updating the Milpitas Metro specific plan. So that's the developments happening sort of in that urban core that, you know, near the BART station and such. So as that's being developed, and as new residents come in, new park space will have to be provided for them. So that's a good place to dovetail. You're also having your bikeway and pedestrian master plan updated right now, and connectivity and how you get from one park or how you get from your home to the park. So all these plans coming together at the same time really makes the experience even richer. Normally we work in a little silo, but now we can be more collaborative there, and we are collaborating with those other teams. The other thing I just want to talk about is we build on the Park and Recreation Master Plan that was generated 10 years ago. We look at what did people think they wanted 10 years ago, what has happened in that 10-year time. It's actually been a little bit more than that. And how does that inform us making decisions, like what was successful and what wasn't? Next slide. So since the last master plan, it was done over 10 years ago, the cities invest over $26 million in their park system. And some of the recommendations of the previous master plan were like, you know, improving the Milpitas Sports Center, creating a new skate park, redesigning a couple of neighborhood parks. These are just some highlights of some of the improvements. So it really is important to get community input and find out what people want to do, because in fact, the city then goes and invests a lot of money in their park system as they move forward. Next slide. So I would just want to tell you a little bit, like we've been working on the Park and Recreation Plan now for, we started before COVID. So we've been working on it for a while now, and we had that advantage to at least interact with people a little bit before we went into shelter in place. So some of the things that we've been doing to date is we went out to all your existing parks and we've looked at them to see what condition they're in, what needs more, what needs less. We've looked at sort of the demographics of your community, like how has it changed over the last 10 years? Your population's aging a little bit, so we have to think about the seniors. Your ethnic diversity is even more diverse population. We have to think about what does that mean? You know, like we're getting sports like cricket that are growing in demand because of some of that diversity. We also have to look forward for the next 10 years, and you're projected to add 20,000 more people to your community. So clearly we have to plan a park system that can accommodate additional people added to your community. One of the things that we do, not only looking at your existing conditions, your community, is we look at some of your neighboring communities to find out what they're doing, because it just doesn't mean we match them, but often you want to compare and contrast, like, well, we're a little bit more sporty, so we need more sports fields, or we're a little bit more this, we need that. So it's just that kind of benchmarking. So those are some of the things that we've been doing. Next slide. We've actually been engaging in an extensive amount of community outreach. It's been in 2 rounds. When we first go out, we ask kind of generic questions like, what do you think about the existing park system? What do you think about the existing programs? What do you like? What don't you like? As I mentioned, we were able to have some pop-up booths at the tree lighting events, at the Lunar New Year, before we went into SIP. And then we also did an online survey. So we collected that data, and now we're in the second round where we kind of dial down on some of that. We kind of focus on an issue might have come up and we want to get more information about that, or we want to get more information about improvements to specific parks, as opposed to that overarching, what do we need? And we're in the round number 2 now. And actually one of the reasons I'm coming to you, not only to collect input from you tonight about some of your thoughts, but there is an online survey I want you to be aware of that you can go and take, or encourage some of your friends to take, so we can collect information from you. Next slide. So just to share with you, I mentioned in that first round, it was sort of like, what do you like? What do you want? You know, the things people like that responded to the survey. And we had about 700 people respond through the different mediums, which was great. You know, they like the playgrounds, they like the swimming facilities, they want more playgrounds, they want more community events, they want some indoor sports, better lighting, and dedicated teen space. And the dedicated teen space doesn't necessarily mean an indoor facility. It means just things in parks that teens feel that they can use, as opposed to that they're kind of making do with a playground that's too young or something that doesn't feel geared towards them. Next slide. As I mentioned, right now, we're having the second round of outreach, and that is we're dialing down, and once again, we have a survey with an interactive map, which is what I'm encouraging you to go on. And on this map, you can go into specific parks and talk about a park that's near your house and what you'd like to see there and not see there. And you'll see, like, some people are saying, well, I'd like a dog park in this park, or I'd like some ping pong tables over here, or something like that. So you can comment specifically on something you'd like to see in the park. We've also done some focus groups. That's where we get together a group of people and we have a virtual meeting like this and kind of dial down. And it was really fun. We had a focus group of teens with some new residents, people that have recently moved in or living in higher density development. Some of the social services that right now your park and recreation staff is really trying to help make sure people have housing and food and various kinds of things that people are challenged with. So we reached out some of those groups to find out what their needs were. And then sports groups, because we obviously have need to provide sports facility and they take up a lot of space. And so there's a lot of collaboration there. We also held 2 virtual town halls where the whole community was invited to come and discuss things that were happening within the park. So that's kind of, we're in that phase right now, just beginning to wrap it up. We're meeting with all the various commissions to share what's going on. And we're going to leave the survey up until we finish meeting with the commission so that everybody has a chance to participate in the survey and tell 2 friends and so on, you know, that kind of thing. So next slide. So I just wanted to share with you, because I'm sure you're curious about what we heard from some of the groups. You know, the new residents really wanted places where they could meet their neighbors, and the organized sports really wanted to make sure that, you know, the facilities could be used for a lot of hours because there's so much competition for sports facilities. So things like synthetic turf and lighting and joint use agreements worked out. And for teens, what we heard was they want some informal uses geared towards teens. So it's not organized sports, but things that felt more teenage, like it could be swings that were bigger so that it was for teens, or as I mentioned, outdoor ping pong and just climbing walls, things that felt more oriented towards teen. There were a lot of comments that a lot of the parks felt aging and kind of unattractive in terms of the site furnishing, and really wanted things to look better and cooler. That was appealing to them. Also, wanting things to look sustainable and have a more natural feeling. Not everything's just lawn, that there were some places that felt like more nature. They talked a little bit about use conflicts where one group might be using the basketball court and they kind of dominate it and no one else can really use it. They talked about like paths where that were too narrow, so you might have somebody walking and somebody trying to skateboard and bike, and making the teens not feel that welcome. Really wanted to see more social activities in the park, you know, a night where you could all meet and have like an astronomy night with a telescope, or you know, food trucks, or just events. One of the issues is safety concern. A lot of teens were saying that their parents weren't that comfortable with them going to the parks, that their parents were wary of them going to the parks by themselves or even in groups of 2. And finally, a lot of teens mentioned to us that the parks need to have shade and maybe even a water feature, because you guys are going to school and doing all your homework and you can't actually use the parks that much during the winter. So making them, you know, more attractive during the summer when teens are able to use the park. So those are some of the things that we heard from probably your user group. Next slide. As I mentioned, we also had some town halls town-wide. And before I mentioned, there's a growing interest in cricket in your community. A lot of interest in making sure that the playgrounds and amenities feel more inclusive and, you know, more accessible. Classes offered on weeknights and on weekends, because a lot of people just like, we can't take these daytime classes. And there was discussion about different programs that people would like to see. The staff is working really hard and has made this adaptation of being able to offer online programs when they're used to offering in-person programs. And then I mentioned connectivity. People want to be able to walk to parks and you know, take trails, bike to parks and such like that. Next slide. So community input. If you visit the Milpitas, website and you go to the Park and Rec Master Plan, that's where you can find this online survey, and you can take it and tell me about the park just near your home, or it doesn't have to be the one near your home. It's one that you're aware of and you have strong feelings about, and there's improvements that you want to make into that park. So this is one of my asks, in addition to maybe input you want, or questions you want to ask tonight, is that and you get your parents to take it too, and your next door neighbor to take it. So we really can make sure what we're giving Milpitas over the next 10 years, we create a plan. So now is the time when people have to tell us what they want, and you're creating the world you're going to live in. So, somebody did it 10 years ago and made it good for you. Now it's your chance to make it for the next generation. Pay it forward, right? Next slide. So as we get all your input, the things that we're working on now and we'll be working on in the next few months are, as I mentioned, those partnerships that we make with the school district and other kind of entities. We'll be trying to iron those out, make some prioritization criteria. There's a lot of improvements people want to see over the next 10 years. Which ones do we do first? How do we decide which ones we do first? Are they ones that in a certain part of town? Are they ones that, are targeted towards teens or youth and such? So we develop our criteria, we create recommendations, a draft document is prepared that's reviewed. You'll have a second, a third chance to kind of look at the document. It comes up like, this is what the vision is. So people can comment and go, oh, wait a minute. I don't think that should be the top priority. And we'll develop cost estimates to go with it so that the city can then, set up how they'll fund and finance these improvements over the next 10 years. So that's my world, and I'm going to give you a chance to ask any questions you'd like, or any comments you want to provide. So I think that's the next slide, says comments and questions. Look at that. Does anybody have any questions at this point in time? I know it's a little overwhelming. I zoom through it, but I'm pretty excited about all the stuff that's going on, so I want to share it.
Would it be possible, Mike, IT, if you could put the link for the survey for the participants in the chat so that they can
That's a great idea.
Or if you guys can copy it, if you guys would like to take that survey.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good idea. Everybody raise their hand and say, I promise to take the survey. Because it's fun, right? Yeah, and you guys, you're not going to be like some of our older ones, like, how do you use an interactive map? You're going to whiz right through that. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Liak.
No problem.
So think
Comments or
about
questions,
the
everybody?
world 10 years from now and how our park system looks and what we want it to feel like. Think about, not today, but 10 years from now, or not just 10 years, but how do we get where we want it to be? Do we want, what does it feel like? What does it look like? You can think of places you've gone in other parts of the country or in other cities and things you loved there. And it's your chance to sort of put your brand on your city.
Yeah, I think the feedback that you got from the teens in that slide is pretty accurate. I mean, especially now, I know a lot of teens go to parks. I think that was a good summary of what at least I would like to see.
Good.
Something I'd like to add too is I think it'd be nice if we could have a quiet space for studying for teens. Because I know in a lot of my local parks, it's kind of, where a lot of the benches are too close to the playground, so it's kind of loud. But it's really nice it would be nice to have a more secluded area for studying.
Okay, that's a good idea. Well, this is why we make the survey, because if you're like me, you think of something tomorrow morning, and it's so there's plenty of time for you to think about it and provide your input. And there's places to add even comments into the survey if you think of something else that would be great, or an example of someplace we need to look at. So just keep, we're not closing this for a while, so you have a chance to think about it.
Any other comments, guys?
So I just would like to say a few words if there's no other comment from the panelists and the public. I just really appreciate the commissioners and Anthony for having us today. And basically your input is really important for us to make sure that this master plan is a successful master plan, because we really need your input so that we can generate the master plan that reflects to what the community wants. So I really appreciate if you can take some moment to take the survey and share this link with all your friends and whoever that you know, so that they can give us an ideas and input so that we can complete this master plan. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for letting me crash your meeting.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think this is a great opportunity for the youth to participate.
There's a public comment.
Anthony?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much to city staff, all the commissioners, as well as the Gates and Associates for the presentation. I just want to mention that I think the entire presentation has got a lot of aspects, to as a part of a recreational activity. Since with the ongoing development, I would also request the commission to consider the virtual reality or augmented reality programs, which would be more helpful for the youth to prosper, over the internet as well. So any inclusion, for the youth development programs as a part of program development services within the city of Memphis, that would be helpful as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Did we have anything else, Rochelle or Mike?
No, we don't.
Okay, thank you. Once again, thank you, Linda. Thank you, Leah. We appreciate you guys taking the time. And like they said, guys, if you guys can take a few minutes this evening and take that survey along with pass it on, that'd be great. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again. All right, so Siley, you can go ahead and we can move into the next part. I think we are on item 9B. I'm sorry, I take that back. Yeah, 9B, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So B, work plan events, confirm virtual events. Background, the Youth Advisory Commission is partnering with local groups to develop and execute events for community engagement. Related to the following grants: women's suffrage, encouragement of registration for voting, and tobacco-free communities. Restricting the sale of flavored tobacco products, including menthol cigarettes. Encouragement and support of information to restrict the sale of e-cigarette and vaping devices and/or other tobacco products. Recommendation: Commission to provide feedback on decision of events, to which include dates, times, and locations.
You can go ahead and move on to C.
Okay. C, work plan proposal 2020 to 21. Background, founded April 1996, the Youth Advisory Commission was established to advise the City Council on matters pertaining to youth and teens in Milpitas. Commissioners must be students in grades 7 through 12 and live in Milpitas. Recommendation: review fiscal year 2019 to 20 work plan and establish key tasks for proposal in fiscal year 2020 to 21 for recommendation to City Council.
All right, we can move forward to D.
Okay. Subcommittee breakout. Subcommittees to provide updates on work plan proposal items. Number 1, career day. 2, film competition. 3, mental health awareness. 4 teen center events, 5 tobacco-free communities. Final work.
So what we'll do, sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you,
no worries.
Siley. So what we can do, everybody, is we can go ahead and we can go through each one of those for those of you that were working on those items, and then we can provide updates. And then as you were saying, Siley, the final work plan approvals are expected on November 17th. So this is just in preparation for that, so that when we do that, when in fact we do get that approval, we can move forward, okay?
Okay. So today we wouldn't do subcommittees. We'd like kind of.
No, you still would. We
Oh.
can still do what you guys, if you have been working on items, we can still provide updates on where you are with things. However, we will then move forward once we do get that approval.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So would we discuss this right now?
Yes, so we'd be
Okay.
working on item by item.
Okay.
And then based upon that subcommittee and those that we spoke about this last meeting, and then that group will go over those items. And if a subcommittee has not been, I believe there's a subcommittee for each, but however, if there's not or I missed, we'll go ahead and develop those this evening.
Okay, great. Okay, so we can just start with the first one, which is career day. So does anyone have any comments on the career day? Okay, so I don't really have any updates specifically, but just kind of carrying over what we talked about last time, which is that we can kind of still take that idea of having several companies or several representatives from companies kind of discussing what they do and kind of like informing teenagers about what they would, like if you're interested, then, like this is some information about it. I guess moving forward and making this virtual, we would just kind of have to look at which professions or careers we wanted specifically and whether we'd be able to find companies who'd be interested in doing a virtual format of this. So, yeah. Okay, so we can move on to the second one, which is the film competition.
Okay, so for this one, I'm pretty sure we're just gonna do the same thing as we were planning on doing last year, and we have most of the information. I think last year we decided to have 2 categories, one for the tobacco, like the prevention of tobacco, that one, and then the open category. So there's also a club at MHS called Friday Night Live that deals with like tobacco and alcohol prevention, and they've done videos themselves. So I was thinking they can either help promote or we can, let them know, and they probably have members who'd be interested as well. And yeah, I think also last year we were going to showcase the winner at the event. I forgot what it was called. But if we can't have that, we can maybe ask the club again to post the winning video or something like that. So there's still some sort of outreach. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so does anyone else have any comments on the film competition? Okay, cool. So number 3, mental health awareness.
All right, so I think this was one of the items that we discussed last month in regards to mental health awareness. And basically, I remember that you guys were to work on starting to look for resources for those that we could partner with, to which they could we can put on some sort of mental health awareness event. So what you're going to want to do is continue that research and start looking into those ideas so that when we do come to the next meeting, we do have those things ready to go and we can start acting on them post the approval. of the work plans. And that goes for this and the rest of the items too. So please do come with those ideas and prepared with those ideas. And also please do prepare to create those subcommittees off of those ideas as well.
For mental health awareness, for the event, or like for the concept itself, were you thinking of more of like a week-long type of awareness week, or like one event, or maybe like a reoccurring event that happened every month or every few weeks or so? Like,
this is totally up to you guys and how you guys want to do it.
Okay.
My suggestion would to be to look for a partner for the event. That would be my suggestion for the first step, and then develop once you get to that point.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think we can move on to number 4, teen center events.
I don't know if this fell under the teen center events, but I remember we were thinking about the esports tournament. Okay. Yeah, I kind of looked more into it, but I realized more as I did research that I don't really know how these tournaments would work. So just wanted to confirm that we would want to, like, I guess, partner with the esports club at MHS, because if we were to do the tournament, we would have to confirm a lot of things, like what equipment they need, what game, like, to play, the requirements for participants. I think that they would probably make the event a lot more smoother or more fun for participants, rather than if we tried to just figure it all on our own. Yeah, any suggestions or anything?
I think that that's a great idea. If that's a viable resource, definitely do tap into that. It is a good opportunity for you guys to be able to create those relationships and those partnerships. So, I would suggest that that's definitely an avenue you're going to want to utilize if you can.
I also had a question about the teen center events.
Sure.
So I remember last time I kind of like, I was thinking like if we could do like something, if we can prepare something that like teens can stop by the teen center to pick up, right? This could range anywhere from like, I don't know, like I feel like it could be applicable to a lot of events. The one that I had in mind specifically at that moment was a holiday event, but I feel like even if we were to do like a mental health awareness event, we could have like little packages or something. Could we, actually, I don't know. Yeah, like I was just wondering if anyone had any ideas, because I like the idea from my point of view, but I was wondering if anyone had any suggestions on how we can kind of like combine that idea with other events that we were thinking of, or I don't know.
I just have a really quick question, kind of related to that. Is it possible for us to host like a drive-in movie type of thing? Like maybe it could be for the holidays or anything, but is that like a feasible event we could do?
That's something we can check on, but realistically speaking, a drive-in movie does require a lot of logistical planning, more so because you have to find an open space. There is a largely set up screen that needs to take place. There's also radio frequency stuff that you have to consider. However, if you are looking for something kind of like a social event, I would suggest probably doing some research to see what's out there that can be replicated, especially now, considering social distancing and shelter in place. It is a great idea. It's just there would have to be there's just a lot of obstacles with that one. So something to maybe think about, another idea and or something to consider for the future, for sure.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Could we take that movie idea and do like a Zoom breakout room movie where you have like different movies, different breakout rooms? Because I feel like that's a pretty fun idea for the holidays.
That's something you guys can definitely do the research on and see if that's something that you would want to do in partnership with the Teen Center, definitely.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so if no one has any other comments for the Teen Center events, then we can move on to tobacco-free communities.
So I have a feeling that this is going to kind of pair into what Sonia was talking about earlier. So definitely look into those resources. And again, as a reminder to all of you, let's start doing the research on these items and come up with these ideas, because once this work plan is set in stone, we need to really identify those subject areas and what specifically we're going to be doing. So I encourage you all to do that research, to look at the items that we do have, and get a better idea of what exactly we would like to realistically do.
Okay, so I think that kind of wraps up section D. So moving on to E, Yak Social. Oh, sorry.
We have Mr. Mehta for item D. Public comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much again, all the commissioners, city staff, and as well as the commission chair. I want to mention about if amateur radio club, which is in the city of Milpitas, it would be a good youth and as well as a kids program as a part of establishing the amateur radio club for the city of Milpitas, and also establishing a youth amateur radio club for the city of Milpitas. That would be a good education learning, as well as learning more about that, how different radio frequencies operates and different club operates within this within the California state to in case of emergency. So please consider the program for the youth commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Siley, we can go ahead and move forward.
Okay. So E, Yak Social City Staff. Background. Each year, local Yaks or commissions like participate in a social event to which commissions from other cities come together and discuss information regarding youth needs, concerns, and opportunities. Recommendation. Yak members register and participate in the Yak Social taking place on Friday, November 20th at 7 p.m. City liaison to follow meeting with the registration and Zoom information for the event to Yak members.
Thank you. Yes, so Sonia and Siley actually participated with the group in planning. I believe you guys did a little bit of planning and spoke about different types of themes and things like that. So if either one of you want to kind of talk about what you learned about the social and kind of what it is to the rest of the group, I do highly encourage that everybody in the commission does attend. It's a great opportunity to meet other cities commissions that do, similar to you guys in your roles. And I think it's a good opportunity for, networking and the ability to meet some other people. So like I said, Sonia and Siley, if you guys want to talk a little bit more about kind of what this entails, that'd be great, I think, for the group.
Okay, so I can start off and Sonia can, yeah. So it was actually a really interesting and really informative and cool session. So when we went to the brainstorm, there were like people from different like Yaks all across the Bay Area, I believe. And we spent kind of like about 10-15 minutes in different breakout rooms that had like different agendas. This is just kind of like a summary, and I'm sure Sonia has some things that she can also talk about, but we talked about some of the work plans that other commissions and committees were working on. So that was really interesting. we also talked about some discussion topics that either that both local yaks were prioritizing or like thinking about events for. And these were also discussion topics that we would want to discuss at the yak socials. So they were about mental health, social justice, and kind of like unique virtual events, and just kind of adapting to COVID and seeing how we can, or not adapting to COVID, my bad, adapting events for COVID. But yeah, it was just really informative because we got to see what different commissions are doing with kind of different ideas. So, and then we also talked about a few things like games that we wanted to see it at the yak social. So, Sonia.
Yeah, same as what Sally said. It was really informative. It's kind of helpful to see what other cities are doing because, you know, we pretty much just talk to each other and we don't know how other teens go about, you know, planning for their city. So I did notice like a lot of the other commissions did want to focus on mental health and they did those in different ways. But they also focused a lot on social justice, like Siley said. There were a couple of yak commissions that had mock debates or just discussions for teens to come and, you know, talk about everything that's happening or any input that they have. And there was one group that wanted to focus on getting active, especially during COVID. So they had scavenger hunts. And again, they changed it a little bit, you know, to respect social distancing and all of that. And yeah, so I think at the event, we're just going to talk about like the 3 main issues that were brought up and then as well as like the games that we brainstormed. So it's like code names, Scribble.io, all that. So yeah, it should be fun.
Great. Well, thank you guys for both talking about that. So like I said, I will be sending you guys after this meeting the invitation for that so that you guys can register and everything like that. But yeah, besides that, that's the last of that item.
Okay, so I think we can move on to section 10. So city liaison reports, A, report from city staff, B, report from council member.
I don't have anything this evening. So you can go ahead and move forward.
Okay. 11, upcoming agenda items. A, subcommittee reports, B, work plan approvals, C, scheduling of work plan events, and D, commission bylaws.
Correct. So this is what we'll plan on doing our next meeting. So please, like I said, do prepare, you know, for those ideas and plans so that we can move forward with the work plans. And then I also want us to touch bases with the commission bylaws and see if we do need any sort of updating or anything of that sort. But we'll move forward with that. We'll move forward with that at the next meeting.
Okay, so I guess we can just move on to 12. So would I do a motion for this as well, or do I just?
Yes, you have the motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you. So may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting at 7:54 p.m.?
Andrea, motion.
Thingy, second.
Okay, sorry, what was this? All approve, say aye. All of a sudden I forgot what to say. I'm so sorry.
Andrea, aye.
Sonia, aye.
Thingy, aye.
Aruna, aye.
Siley, aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay, so it's now 7:55. Okay, I adjourn today's meeting at 7:55 p.m. I think that's it.